Okay, everybody. In a few, I will be joined by unbeaten up and comer Rianna Doforo from the United Kingdom, who very recently made her professional debut south of the border in Mexico. And we're going to be talking to her, just getting some regular questions out there. How did she feel fighting in Mexico? How did she feel debuting as a professional? Because she's actually very young. She's only about 15 years old. You don't see a lot of fighters debuting in the pros that young. Canelo Alvarez quite famously debuted as a professional at the age of 15, and obviously he did it in Mexico. So we're going to be talking to Rianna very soon. Shout out to Steffi Bull for contacting me to set it all up. Appreciate you, bro. Much love to Terry Harper, who I'm a big fan of. Much love to Raven Chapman, who I fucking adore. I love Raven Chapman. I'm not going to apologize for that. I love me some Raven Chapman. Um, and yeah, man, sometimes when I'm reporting on the stories for the girls, right? You always get people that want to be negative. And I feel like yesterday's fight is a big example of how I became such a big supporter of the female fights. Because one thing that stood out to me with a lot of the female fights is they're never boring. They're really never boring. If you get two girls in there, like if you think about the fight this weekend where Erica Cruz and Mayerlin Rivas on the undercard of Diego Pacheco's fight, that's going to be an action fight. Like, I already know that. They're going to go crazy in there, the both of them, and it's not going to be boring. And then when you think about yesterday's fight and you like, yo, Top Rank is paying him like 3 mil per fight to go in there and make the customers angry and get booed. Shout out to the homie Sulam, one of the close homies. Yeah, yo, it's like when you think about a fight like yesterday and all of the promotion and the effort and the money, right, that gets spent to do it, and then the customers end up leaving angry. They was booing. I went back to watch it with my breakfast. I had it playing while I was eating my breakfast this morning, and I just had it playing on a joint. And yo, they was really booing for like 36 minutes, yo. They was literally booing for like 36 minutes. That's crazy, bro. That all of that goes into that just to leave the customers dissatisfied. And then you think about how many female fighters is out there that, yo, when you put them in a fight, they go at it. It ain't gonna be boring. You know what I mean? It ain't gonna be boring. Like Erica Cruz, shout out to Erica Cruz, a former WBA champion of Mexico. She's from Mexico City. Isaac Cruz's auntie. She's never in a boring fight. Never in a boring fight. The two Marjana big fights, the Serrano fight, shout out to Amanda. The last fight that she had with Melissa Odessa Parker earlier this year. Erica is never in a boring fight. Never. Win or lose, it's going to be an action fight. You know what I mean? And when you think about that, like, damn, they should give fighters like that more money. They should promote fighters like that more often. Because for what y'all paying him, what y'all paying this kid to do what he do, the customers was not happy, yo. They was not happy. Y'all should have had Navarrete in the co-main event, de verdad. You know? And it's not piling on. It's just that it's a reality. It is a reality that you could be skilled and you could be effective, but that doesn't mean you're entertaining. And when you're not entertaining, yeah, it has an effect. It has an adverse effect. You don't want customers leaving angry. You know what I mean? You don't want that. Shout out to my man, Mr. Calderon. Sup, Jules? I had to get a little together, and I had 3 new eyes on Shakur, and they all told me they won't watch him again, especially after watching the. Yeah, bro. You know, a lot of those fights were very entertaining fights in the build-up. A lot of the fights on the undercard, they were very entertaining. The Osley fight, the other kid, the two small cats. Those was entertaining fights. So It's unfortunate, but he laid an egg yesterday. It is what it is. He laid an egg. And when you think about what they're paying him to go out there and lay an egg like that, because that was a big thing for them promoting that show on F1 weekend. And they were asked to do that by ESPN. I remember hearing that yesterday, that they were basically asked to do the show on a Thursday, I think it was, in correlation with F1 weekend, F1 in Las Vegas. And it's like you see that a lot of effort went into that, you know. I don't want to say too much about it because I got to save some for the recap, but it's only making a point that for those who wonder, well, how did you become such a big supporter of the lady boxers? It's because their fights are not boring. If you get two ladies in the ring, yeah, it don't be like yesterday's fight. It really don't. Most of the time, 9 times out of 10, you're gonna get a shootout. You're gonna get a full-on shootout. You know what I mean? And that's a part of how I became a big supporter of the lady boxers. That I noticed that a lot of their fights are entertaining. They get right to it. A lot of their fights is entertaining, and they don't make enough money. They should make more money. They should give them more money because they really put on a show. Melissa Odessa Parker, Erica Cruz, they put on a show earlier this year, bro. They put on a show. The kid I'm about to talk to, Rianna Doforo, her fight is on the zone. If you guys haven't seen it, her pro debut is on the zone. Just put her name in the search bar, and she put on an entertaining fight. It was a very entertaining fight, action-packed fight. She's engaging. She's in the pocket. She's bobbing, weaving, slipping, rolling. Very entertaining. And these are the fighters that deserve more exposure and more money, which is why I try to help that process along by using this platform to get their names and their faces and their personalities out there to all of you. That these is the fighters that the sport needs more of. They're exciting fighters. They deserve more exposure and deserve more money. You know, the entertainment value is there. You just gotta tune in. You gotta give it a chance, and you'll see what I'm talking about. If it wasn't entertaining, I wouldn't watch it. If it wasn't, but I'm telling you, it's really good fighters out there. Really good female fighters. Very entertaining. You know what I mean? I just keep thinking about how much effort went into yesterday's promotion and how much money was spent for so many members of the audience to leave dissatisfied. And I'm like, yo, dog, you literally could have put two female fighters in that main event that would have put on a much, much, much better show than what he did, man. Shout out to my man George. He's not a boring fighter, just a bad performance. Well, I don't know, George, because the Nicotila fight was like that too. When he felt Nicotila's power, it was like that. It was like that. You know what I mean? So can we say that? It's just he laid an egg, man. I still think I'm not gonna get too into all my thoughts because I want to save some of that for the recap, which I'm still working on. I'm gonna finish it up after I do the Q&A, and I will upload it probably in the afternoon or the evening. But the takeaway for me was that, yo, it's a lot of fighters that would have put on. It's a lot of female fighters that would have put on a better performance than what we got yesterday from Shakur and De Los Santos. And that's the reality of it, yo. Like, yeah, it's a lot of fighters that deserve a little bit more exposure and a little bit more help to get their names out there because they actually will make the most of those opportunities, you know. Shout out to my man Drew. 40-47 Shakur with stronger guys might be same. Yeah, yo. You know what I'm saying? That's a good point that as he moves up in weight and the guys get taller, they got more reach, they're stronger, they're more durable. He might give them the respect that he gave De Los Santos, which was too much for the audience. So, the audience members was just not entertained, man. Not entertained. It is what it is. Now, y'all know the rules of engagement. Whenever I do one of these Q&As, if you have a question that you would like to ask the fighter, just send it to me in the form of a super chat, and I will read out your question and spend your money on beer and Aeropostale flannel shirts. Because y'all know I love my flannel. I am in the process of getting a Captain America suit. I did my thing with the Spider-Man suit yesterday. I'm going to get a Captain America suit. I'm gonna do more. I'm a bench more so I can get my chest up so I can fit it real nice, look like Captain America out here. Captain America out here. You know what I mean? And we out here. Shakur is too inconsistent in terms of performances to be a big star, especially if we're getting him twice a year. He's going to be Floyd before Oscar. Yeah, 2 times a year for a fighter that young who does not yet have a brand. Like, you're not a brand yet, not a brand yet. You need to be fighting more often. What creates the problem is the contract guarantees are so high, you can only afford to get him out 2 times a year because what are we talking about? Somewhere in the neighborhood of between 2 and 3 million. So it's very expensive to get him out, which is what limits the amount of times that he gets out there. And it's unfortunate because since he fights only twice a year, a performance like this, well, people are going to be talking about this for weeks and months, right? They're going to be talking about this for weeks because that will have been the last time that they saw him. And since he doesn't fight that often, he's not putting distance between himself and that performance. So it's unfortunate. I still think he's a very skilled fighter. I still think that. I would literally still pick him to beat Javante for that reason. For that reason, because he's taller, longer, and if he needs to win boring, he can win boring. It's not the most fun thing, but yeah, it's effective. It works. It's just that being very skilled doesn't always mean being very entertaining. It is what it is. I hope y'all like my Spider-Man suit yesterday. I'm gonna get a Captain America joint. I'm gonna get a shield, right? I'm gonna be on my Steve Rogers. You know what I mean? I did the Captain America with the Skelly Boom Boom. I mean, with the Spider-Man with the Skelly Boom Boom. Now I'm gonna try to go for Captain America. Maybe I'll do Daredevil. He got the little red mask and all of that. Maybe I get that joint. Shout out to Mike. When he says like, if you don't like it, don't watch. Yeah, that doesn't help. Yeah, I seen he said that. I seen that he said that. I'm telling you, man, it's just I'm gonna save most of what I think for the recap because I do have a lot of thoughts about that. I have thoughts about him saying that got a lot of thoughts about that. But we still got another card coming up this weekend. That's the Diego Pacheco fight. Boxer has a card in the afternoon. I know Boxer has a card. I believe that the only way to watch it if you're in America is to get Peacock. And I know that Matchroom has a show later on in the day here in America, the Diego Pacheco fight. I believe he's fighting Coceres. For those that don't know, Coceres is the dude that Edgar Berlanga fought, the one that knocked him down. Coceres is the dude that Billy Joe Saunders fought. You know what I mean? That's that dude. Billy knocked him out, though, when he fought him. Billy knocked him out. He didn't look good, but he knocked him out, whereas Berlanga, he looked really bad in that fight. He just looked really bad. Shout out to Jay Nels. If any man enjoyed last night's Stevenson fight, you need to get your T levels checked, yo. I'm telling you, people mad, yo. Because if you on the East Coast, you gotta be up late to watch that joint, bro. I was up late and I'm old, bro. I'm like 60 years old, bro. You know how tired I am at like after 10 p.m., 11? I be tired, yo. And I was up late, man. I was up late, bro. Fighting sleep. Throwing uppercuts. Fighting sleep. Yeah, man. That's the second time he laid an egg like that, man. Second time. It's just not good for your marquee value, man. There is a responsibility to the consumer to provide a satisfying show. It's like if you go to a concert, well, you ain't going to the concert so that the person on stage just bores you to death right now. You there for a show. So, you know, occupational hazard, man. Sometimes guys go out there and lay an egg, right? I turned it off halfway. Yo, Jules, two in England, one here in the USA. Yeah, man. It was late, bro. It was like 1 in the morning. It's rough, bro. It was rough. But we got a lot to look forward to, We have a lot to look forward to. I tend to look on the bright side. Look on the bright side, guys. We got a decent card this weekend coming up with a good appetizer. Diego Pacheco's next fight, and he's fun to watch. He's always fun to watch. After that, you got next week's fight with I think it's David Benavidez and Demetrius Andrade. We got that. Obviously, we got the Saudi Arabia show, which is a big show. It's a lot of good fights on that show. A lot of talk about that show. We got Sonny Edwards versus Bam Rodriguez. I've been waiting for that fight for a while. I think that's going to be a good fight. We got Inouye versus Marlon Tapales. Inouye don't be in boring fights. Come on, when is Inouye in a boring fight, right? So we got a lot to look forward to and a lot to be happy about. Even if yesterday was, yeah, man, that joint was rough, bro. Shakur says, "Don't watch it if you don't like it." Yo, he just making it worse saying that, man. Just making it worse. So And as stated, for those that are just joining us, for those that are just tuning in, very shortly I will be talking to Rianna Doforo, a young unbeaten up-and-comer from the United Kingdom, only 15 years old. She debuted as a professional a little over a week ago, south of the border in Mexico. Looked fantastic. I believe that she campaigns at or around lightweight. I'm going to ask her because the contracted weight of the match was not registered on BoxRec. So I'm going to ask her which weight specifically she's going to be campaigning moving forward. She's a very exciting fighter. Now, I'm going to leave y'all with a little bit of elevator music while I smoke this cigarette and prepare myself, okay? I will be back after these commercial messages, okay? Hold on, give me a second. Technical difficulties. I got you right now. I bet everybody. I want to introduce to you Rianna Doforo from the United Kingdom. As stated, she debuted as a professional a little over a week ago. It was in Mexico. Yeah, this is like some static in the background out here. Okay, so thank you for joining us, Rianna. I'll start off with a simple question. Uh, what led you to get into the sport of boxing?
So my dad's friend opened a boxing gym, and because I was quite athletic when I was younger, I did sprinting for my school athletics team, did swimming, competed for the city and stuff. So when my dad's friend came to him and said, "Look, I'm opening a boxing gym. Any of your kids interested?" My dad just came and asked me, and yeah, I just said yes. I just started from there, really.
Mm-mm. And did you fight a lot as a kid? Did you have an inclination towards fighting?
Not really, in all honesty. I was like a really, really girly girl. So it was like a big shock to people, and you probably heard I used to sing in choir as well. So it was quite a big shock to everyone, in all honesty.
Did you take to it naturally? Like in other words, was it one of those things where you do it and you have this epiphany, like, oh, I really like this?
Not really, in all honesty. Like I wasn't naturally good at it whatsoever. Like even for my feet and my hands, like I wasn't great. In all honesty, you can probably find videos when I was younger, and it did take a lot of work just to get to the level I'm at. So definitely not a natural now.
Mm, let me read the super chat. Perhaps Top Rank should match Shakur versus pressure fighters. Those, yeah, perhaps they should. They're talking about yesterday's fight. I don't know if
Yeah.
you heard, but did you see it?
I haven't seen it yet, no, Joe being from the UK, but I'm looking for when it comes out so I can watch it.
Yeah, you didn't miss nothing, man. You did. It was rough. It was rough. Um,
Yeah, I've seen Shakur's post saying he could have done a better performance, so
yeah, like I don't want to be too hard on him. It's just that you know that it has an effect. It has an effect moving
yeah.
forward. And you know how it is. Now,
Yes,
I
definitely,
saw
yeah.
your pro debut. I saw your last fight, well, your first fight, really. And it was like, wow, because you look like you've been doing this for a long time. You was in, out, rolling, riding, slipping, bobbing, weaving, counters. Everything was. How was that for you?
It was definitely an experience, definitely, and I just felt as soon as I said to my coach just after the fight, as soon as I got to like the ring walk, I was just excited. Like there was no nerves. It was just calm and relaxed, and that's how every fighter wants to be going to the ring. Really, just calm, relaxed, and an open mind, and be focused for whatever's gonna come. So, yeah, I knew what to expect as well, and I also told myself never underestimate your opponent because you never know what can happen. So that was always a thought. So I was just locked in. So
Mm,
that was, I was just locked into the moment and into the fight. So I knew my skills, and my capability were going to lead me to victory.
And how many more times do you expect to fight within the next 12 months? Because usually when a fighter debuts, they usually fight three, four, sometimes five times a year. Do you expect to fight that often?
Hopefully, I want to try and get 3 fights in next year. Just with it obviously being traveling to Mexico because of my age, that's going to be obviously a complication. But because we've done it now once, it's just going to get easier and easier, and the opponent's going to get better, and it's going to be more rounds and so on.
Now, I looked on BoxRec and I couldn't see the contracted weight of the match, but you campaign around lightweight, correct? 135?
Yeah,
So, that's Katie Taylor's division. I just have to pick your brain.
yeah.
Do you think that she's going to win that rematch, or do you think Chantel's going to get her again? She's just too big and too strong.
I love Kate honestly, as everyone does. It's a legacy fight. This is very defining fight for Katie. If she loses this fight, this is all a lot of people are going to talk about when her career finishes. But on the other hand of it, Chantel is a very, very high level opponent, and as we've seen in the first fight. So personally, I think most likely a repeat for Chantel, but I'll never count out Katie because she has got a work ethic like no other. So
And what do you think about that upcoming Natasha Jonas versus Michaela Mayer fight? That's a good fight.
definitely, yeah. Obviously, I've got personal relationships with Tasha, so we're team Jonas here. But let's not take anything away from Michaela. As I said about Chantel, another high level opponent in Michaela Mayer. So it's not going to be an easy night for Tasha at all. But two very high level, classy women. Should be a good press conference and very good build up to the fight. So looking forward to it.
And what's that like for you? You're only 15 years old, but you're seeing that it's a more fertile environment now for a woman boxer than it probably was in previous years. What is that like for you? Like, would you like to fight for a matchroom? Would you like to fight for a Queensbury, for a boxer? Where would you like to go if you had to choose?
Wherever the money is, wherever the money is, wherever the biggest fights are, and wherever I can create my legacy, whoever can bring that to me, that's where I'll go.
Mm-mm-mm. And 135, that's it's good that you're campaigning there because there's a lot of action there. There's a lot of fighters there. And Katie's not gonna be around forever. Much as I love her, she's not gonna be around forever. Sooner or later, she's gonna have to let those belts go. When do you feel you would be ready to fight for a belt?
So obviously, I have to be 18 to fight for a belt, but I can fight for like youth belts and stuff from 17. So I'll get my ranking then. But I just feel by the time I'm that age, I'll be ready whenever the opportunity comes because I'll have had so much experience already prior to being 18, to being the age you can fight for a title. So I just think as soon as the opportunity comes, it'll be God's plan and it will just be a go from there.
And where do you stand? You know, this is a hot topic in the sport right now. We know that Amanda Serrano, seven division champion, undisputed, she's pushing for the ladies to be able to fight for 12 3-minute rounds. Where do you stand on that?
I think it's unbelievable what she's done. She's honestly such a pioneer for the sport. And I like the 3 minute rounds, me personally. I think it suits my style a lot, as I think it does Amanda's. But you have to look at the people who are at the top of women's boxing now, the likes of Katie. I love Katie, but her style is not a 3 minute round style, in my personal opinion. Not that she's not fit enough or anything, just that style's not 3 minute rounds. As Amanda's is a lot more flat footed and sits down on her shots more than Katie. So honestly, because of the people at the top of the sport right now, we may be waiting a bit longer than we should for 3 minute rounds. So it's a bit touch and go with the 12 threes. I agree with it a lot, and I think it's just going to bring on the sport a lot more, the women's side of it, in the sense of the fitness has to be higher level to do 3 minute 12, like 12 threes, because it doesn't sound like a big difference, but it is like,
Oh, it's a huge difference. An
yeah,
additional minute
definitely.
on top of that's tough. That's rough.
Yeah, even if it got changed to like 10 threes rather than 12 threes, that'll still have a massive impact to a lot of women fighters. And I just think the level has got to be stepped up, Joe, for us to get to get the 3 minute round, the level, as it will be, as time goes on. You've got many people like myself coming through the sport. So the more and more people get involved in the sport and the level going up, I think it'll happen soon.
Mm-mm. And are people sometimes surprised when you tell them that you're a pugilist, that you're a fighter, because you're very young, you're only 15, and it's not customary everywhere for someone so young to already be a professional boxer. Are people surprised when you tell them that?
Yes, definitely. Just considering, as I say, my past I've been inquiring and stuff, and I used to be quite quiet when I was younger. So when people haven't seen me in a while, like only just seen me on Instagram and stuff, box when I see them in person, they would just always say, "Oh, I never expected you to do that." So yeah, I think a lot of people do get shocked at it, and obviously, no one really expects a 15-year-old to come out and say, "Oh yeah, I'm a professional boxer," just casually.
That's cool. That's cool. Now, do you have like, it's a lot of boxing movies out there. There's the Rocky movies and there's Girl Fight and Million Dollar Baby. What are your top three boxing movies if you have them? What are your top three?
So a lot of people aren't gonna like me for this, but I don't like fictional boxing movies. I I I just can't like adjust to it. So I really like Vinnie Paz's movie. Not a lot of people I was spoke to seeing Joe bleed for this. I love that movie. I think Vinnie Paz is just such a great person, such a great fighter. I really like the new George Foreman movie as well, which just came out. And there's quite a few Muhammad Ali movies, but I really like the one with Will Smith. I like them three probably.
I think one of the best ones. It's not really Hollywoodish though. It's definitely it's about James J. Braddock,
Yeah,
Cinderella.
yeah,
That's a really good movie. That was really well done.
yeah.
Now, aside from boxing, punching people in the face, and all of that, what other hobbies do you have when you're not boxing?
So I really enjoy going to the library and like learn about other things. So I'm quite big on religion and stuff. So just a lot of reading stuff, like expanding, my mind outside of boxing. Because like situations like this, when you have interviews and stuff, you gotta be able to be verbal. You gotta be able to like vocalize and socialize properly with others outside the sport. So yeah, I'd say reading's quite a big hobby of mine, and I really do like music, and I still sing quite a lot.
Okay. Now, I want your top three male fighters to watch and female fighters to watch because everybody has their favorite fighters that when they fighting, they can't miss it. So, what's your top three males? And what's your top three females?
So my number one male would definitely be Bivol. Love his style.
Wow, Bev, that's a good choice. Bevel, he's a good, very good. Yeah.
I really like Bivol. This is gonna be a bit of a probably oversaid answer, but you can't beat Canelo.
Yeah.
You never know what he's gonna bring to the table. You never know. You just, the one thing that's promised with Canelo, it's always gonna be exciting.
Yeah, I agree.
And
I agree.
I'm gonna have to say Terence Crawford as well.
The, the best, the best. It's
Oh,
You can't complain. It's Terrence Crawford, man. Can't complain.
yeah, he's always gonna get the job done every time, and it's always gonna be a clinical performance. So what more can you ask?
Now,
And
top three females.
I'm gonna have to put Chantel up there definitely. Love her style. She's a very nice person as well. And to be fair, I'm gonna put Estrada up there as well. I like Estrada. I just
From
wish there was more,
Macedonia?
yeah.
Yeah, she's
I
very
just
good.
wish there was more opportunity at the wait for her than what there is.
I
And
agree.
I'd also say I really like Pursoon as well, who fought Katie Taylor, Madison Square Garden. Really, I like her work rate. I think she's such a good fighter, and she doesn't step off the gas whatsoever, and she's always game for a fight. You know, she's never turns them down or anything. So yeah,
Yeah, Persona's actually, I wish that there was more exposure for her because
yeah,
it's like
definitely,
if if you're familiar with the fighters, you know that Delphine actually has been around for a very long time and she fought
yeah,
a lot of good fighters, but it's only now that the sport is starting to open up and there's money and there's broadcasters. So it's kind of messed up that those fighters, because she's like what 37, 38 now.
yeah,
So they
yeah.
don't really get to enjoy it as much as the fighters that are coming through now, you know what I
No,
mean? But she's one of the best. She's definitely one of the best.
yeah. She just doesn't get the attention what she deserves whatsoever.
Yeah, and she's never in a boring fight. That's the other thing. I've been watching her a long time, and she's never in a boring fight.
No, definitely not.
So I would ask, what's your favorite thing about being a boxer, and what's your least favorite thing about being a boxer?
My favorite would definitely, obviously, be actually getting in there, being able to perform, and being able to show everyone what I'm capable of and what hard work looks like, and just to prove everyone, how good I am and what I say is true. So just definitely my favorite thing is just performing. And my least favorite, probably a pretty common answer, but not being able to have a good pig out when I want to. A heart, I'm a fat child, a heart, so it hurts.
No,
It hurts.
that's what I've asked that question to a lot of fighters, and they all say the same thing. Their least
Yeah,
favorite thing is making the weight. That's their least favorite thing.
yeah,
Consistent.
just it's not even like I'd never fight at a weight that I was uncomfortable making. I'm always walking around under, in all honesty, but I still eat clean anyway. And it's just my brother can eat what he wants and he's just eating in front of me. It's just
So is that hard for you? You're passing by the bakery, you're walking, you know you can't go inside, can't eat nothing. Walking past the Nando's, no, you can't go inside, can't eat nothing. Is that what is that's like?
the smell just has me over.
That's cool. That's cool. Well, so let me guess. Let me ask. All right. So we covered that. We covered the hobbies. We covered the fighters, least and favorite things. What fight on the calendar are you looking forward to the most? Because there's a lot happening in the sport right now. What's the fight that really has your attention?
I think it's a pretty popular one, but I'm gonna say Usyk Fury. Just I wouldn't have said it otherwise of Fury's last performance versus Ngannou. I think it makes it a bit more interesting now. Because a lot of people were just saying Fury because of the height and length, but now it's a whole different ball game.
I'm gonna put you on the spot. I'm gonna ask you who's winning that fight.
Oh, I've been so 50-50 with this fight for the longest, but as of right now, I'm gonna go with Usyk.
Mm.
I'm gonna go with Usyk right now, just because I feel like his inside work, he knows how to get. I think he'll know how to get on Fury's chest, like a lot of other fighters haven't been able to do. And he uses his small size to his advantage. And I think there's a chance he's gonna make Fury's size his weakness.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of my view. What has really worked for Fury is he's a very big man who can move.
Yeah,
But
definitely. Yeah.
I don't think he's gonna move better than this guy. You know, he can move better than those other big men that are big and slow, but he can't move better than this guy. And
No, definitely not.
what did you think when of the Ngannou fight though? When you were watching that, what was going through your mind as you're watching him, looking how he's looking?
I was in shock, honestly, and I love Tyson Fury. I think what a great guy, what an entertainer. But when seen him during the corner, sat on the stool, I just thought it looked like there was not much in him. There wasn't any spark in his eyes for me personally. That was what I thought. Which with Tyson Fury, normally the complete opposite. You know,
Mm,
you normally see it. You can say what you want about Tyson Fury, but he's come back from a lot. So you normally see that in his eyes. But for me, I didn't see that one little bit. I just didn't like it wasn't in him that night.
mm, mm, mm. All right. Wait, drop. Let me see. Oh yeah, that just dropped off briefly. What do you think about this whole Joshua Wilder thing? It looks like they're starting that conversation again. You know, it looks like we might get it next year. Who do you like for that fight, and just what do you think of it?
I think that is one of the most 50-50 fights we can see in like recent times. Like that'll be a major super fight. That, and I think that I think Anthony Joshua's feet are a lot better than Wilder's, but you'd never count Wilder out. He's not great on the back foot, but he moves in like that with the backhand, when he steps in with it, and he puts people out, as we've seen many times. So, it's a really tough fight to call really, because you've got Anthony Joshua who can punch but can move a lot more than Wilder, but Wilder's got that freak power, man.
Yeah, yeah, and we got like that whole card, man. Like it's like a
Yeah,
Christmas present because the,
yeah,
the the fight that really has me that I'm like I can't wait to see it is Dubois versus Miller.
yes.
I don't know what's gonna because I'm like yeah, Daniel hit hard, but I mean like so
Yeah,
the
it's definitely another one is another really good competitive fight, and I think you've got to win it for Daniel Dubois. Keep proving that you're at that level, because obviously it didn't work out from versus Joe Joyce. It didn't work out from, unfortunately, versus Usyk after the whole below belt drama. But this is a got to win fight for him, so he can say, "Look, I am at this level. Give me another opportunity."
it's a very hard fight to try to rebound off of though, because there's other guys like when I saw it, I was like, yo, dog, like that's not really even a rebound fight. That's a sink or swim fight. Like you could lose that thing. It's
Yeah,
crazy.
definitely. And I feel like he probably had to take a fight like that, because you can't go from USAC to fighting a journeyman. You've got to keep it up there. Otherwise, you're not going to come back, not going to give you enough of an opportunity again. And especially with these big fights happening with, Fury, USAC, Anthony Joshua, and Wilder, you've really keeping that standard high. You've got to run with it. Otherwise, you're going to get left behind.
Yeah, but for the decorum, like it's such a big show, they can't just stick him in there with anybody. But that's a dangerous fight, man. Because Miller, for all his drawbacks, that dude is walking around above 300 pounds, bro. That's a big man,
Yeah.
and he
No,
applies
no.
a lot of pressure. You know what I mean? It's a lot. He applies
Yeah.
a lot of pressure.
Yeah, definitely, and that's going to be a big difference to what compared to the last fight with Usyk, who was a lot smaller, than with Miller, the weight leaning on them. It's going to make a huge difference. So he's going to have to get some very big sparring partners in.
Yeah, like he gonna have to get some giants because it's like what I'll say for Miller is he doesn't have the fastest feet, but a man that size constantly bearing down on you, throwing punches, throwing combinations,
Yeah,
it's gonna get you tired, and mentally it's gonna get you tired unless you stop him. unless you can stop him.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and it's going to be hard trying to keep him off him all night. But I think Dubois is just he got quite long arms, so I think he'll be able to do it. Hopefully, he gets the win and gets another opportunity at that level. Wish the best of luck to him, but it's not going to be an easy night work.
Yeah, it's not going to be an easy night. Now, as it pertains to yourself, to who would you most liken your bass style? Like, who would you say you draw inspiration from?
I'd say my style's quite a mix, but I really like, obviously, as I said before, Terence Crawford and Bivol. I just like Bivol's tight style, and he's still got really quick feet, quick hands, but he's tight and he's still got puts on an entertaining performance. You know, he's got the skills, he's got the power, and I also like Terence Crawford's defense going forward. You know, he's still slipping and moving and making them miss whilst making them pay at the same time, which is what boxing's about, and he just does it so clinically.
Yeah, you gotta love that guy. That guy's one of the
Yeah.
best. Shout out the country who asked, I'm amazed you're taking up boxing at 15. You're taking boxing as a young person sport to another level in a good way. What are your goals now?
My goals now would definitely just to be get in more fights over in Mexico for like the next few months and just building my profile up and putting more good performances in and just showing everyone this is the level I'm at and I'm looking to bring this sport to a whole nother level and to show everyone what greatness looks like.
Well, I'll say this: the strategy you guys are taking is very smart because you'll get the chance to get a lot of experience south of the border. You'll get the kind of experience that you need as a professional because there's some tough fighters down there in Mexico. Even the journey women, like, yeah, they tough. They've been around. They can fight. You know what I mean? So that's very smart that you're doing that. And I didn't even realize that they do put an age limit on when you could fight for the title. That yeah, you do have to be
Yeah.
18 to fight for the title. So you got basically 3 years. You're gonna work on things and go down there and fight, and then in 3 years fight for a title.
Yeah, definitely. So there's like a few odd titles I can fight for. So the WBC do a youth world title. So you can fight from 17 for that. So I could fight in Las Vegas, Nevada for that because they allow 17. I could fight in just say in places in Europe such as like Poland and obviously Mexico as well. So that's also an option. So if I have that title for when I turn over 18, I'll already have that ranking so we can try and get world titles as soon as possible.
Mm-mm. And when you were there, because for those that don't know, she was there a little over a week ago. She debuted as a professional. What was it like for you to visit that country, Mexico? Cool country, obviously lots of boxing culture. Did you enjoy it?
Yeah, honestly, the people were amazing, very, very hardworking people, and all so polite and just easy to work with, easy to talk to. You know, didn't have no trouble with anyone. It was just overall great experience.
Since you intend to spend a lot of time there, and moving forward for your fights, do you also intend to learn the Spanish language?
Yeah, I need to. I need to, because we're gonna be going back and forth there. I need to be learning the language honestly because that was the only thing I struggled with was like certain words and stuff. Can't expect everyone to know English for me, so I think I'm gonna need to cater to them and learn some Spanish.
Yeah, you'll pick it up. You'll pick it up. Last question. Let me think. Let me think. If you could improve one thing about the sport that you feel needs improvement, what would it be?
Ooh, I'd say definitely fighters fighting the best fighting the best. I think that needs to happen more because there's so many missed opportunities. Like Terence Crawford, Errol Spence, great fight. My personal opinion should have happened years ago.
Oh yeah, I agree with you. I agree.
Should have
100.
happened years ago. Like I think fighters are fighting each other, but the fighters like out of date. You know, don't get me wrong. Still two great fighters, Errol Spence and Terence Crawford, and like amazing performance like Crawford once again. But as you say, some of these fights are just happening too late. Like same with Amir Khan and Kell Brook. That
Yeah.
should have happened years ago. That it's a great fight. Should have happened years ago when both in the prime. It's not like the fight couldn't have happened, you know. So yeah, I definitely say the best needs to fight the best more, and I think that's what I bring to the table as a fighter. You know, you've got to be game. You've got to be spiteful. It makes it easier for everyone, even the promoters, if you do your job and you're fighting the best.
Yeah, I mean that's a part of the reason that I started actually watching the girls, because I noticed it's easier to get two really good girls to fight each other than it is to get two good guys to fight each other. That the girls seem more willing. And being honest, I'm not trying to knock Shakur or nothing, but girl fights is always fun. Whereas yesterday's fight was not fun, man. And I'm old and it's late. And I'm like, yo, I'm fighting sleep watching that. And I'm like, you know what I mean? That's
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It's
yeah, definitely. And I feel like I always think to myself, I heard Kobe Bryant say it once that this was his wife who said it, so that he, like, even if he's sick, never missed a game, because sometimes there's fans who can only afford to pay for one ticket in the whole year. So I was thinking to myself, I've got to perform, because I could have a fan who can only afford to watch one of my fights that year, and I can't let them down. I've got to perform every time, because that's the fans making the fight happen. If the tickets don't get sold, the fight doesn't happen. So you've got to perform.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like you say that, the sport is rough, dangerous sport, but at the same time, we know that look, if the customers ain't happy, it has an effect. But it
Yeah,
does. So it's messed up because I still think he's a great fighter. I just don't think he's a fun fighter to watch. And yeah, it could be both. Yeah, you could be great
yeah,
and skilled, but just not fun to watch, man. I feel
yeah.
bad for him, man. I feel bad.
Especially when you've got a fighter like Javante that same weight, who is one of the most entertained at the minute. Obviously, very inactive and needs to fight for the higher level fighters.
I'm
But
just, I'm not big on Javante at all. I'm being honest. I'm like, yeah, he's entertaining because he's matched
yeah,
more opportunistically. Like, if you look at Devin, Lomachenko, Camboso.
exactly. Yeah, like I love Javante as a fighter, but I just think that the opportunities need to be there for him more. And I just think, you know, he's nearly, is he 30 now, is he?
He's
Or
almost, yeah, like he's
yeah, like,
almost 30. It's like, yo,
and he's been fighting with the same level for the same WBA titles for so long now. And I think he's a great fighter, hard working, but I just would like to see him at that, like Shakur, Devin Haney. There's so many at that level that would be great fights. Even if he moved up and fought Tiafimo,
yeah, like
that's a great
that
fight.
fight is the excellent. Like honestly, that I think that's a fight in boxing that would really wake people up, like
Definitely.
Teofimo versus Javante. But it's like we're not gonna get it.
No.
We're not gonna get it.
It's like both fighters want too much. Do you know what I mean? It's no longer for the legacy, it's for the money. Which
Yeah,
obviously people need the money for living and stuff, but at what point do you, like, you think back to when you were younger and imagine, like, you, if you told your younger self now they were fighting for this world title, they'd have been like, take it, do you know what I mean? Like, they weren't a thing. That, like, the reason most fighters started was nothing to do with money, it was to do with opportunity and actual fighting. So I think if you brought it back to that, all these fights happen, but no, because people have too much greed and too much want, they don't happen.
greed is what I mean. Greed is what ruins the sport, which is what kind of like it's kind of like what coaxed me to start watching the female fighters and the fighters in Asia and the fighters in obviously Mexico and other countries. That it's like a prevalent thing here that there's always an ego thing or a money thing, or it's like, yo,
Yeah,
dog, like if y'all don't fight, the audience shrinks. If y'all don't fight, like the audience that consumes the sport is
yeah,
gonna shrink.
yeah,
So
definitely. And I think if you want that money and you want these big opportunities, you're gonna have to fight these people.
yeah.
And sometimes you're gonna have to gamble on yourself and be the underdog. But that's what builds you up. You look at Floyd, Oscar De La Hoya. That was a defining fight for him. Look at who he is now. Do you know what I mean? Like, look at the two people now. Like,
Yeah, it's like the legacy brings you the money. Oscar said it the other day that if you
yeah,
want money, the legacy will bring you the money because people are going to be interested in what you're
Yeah,
doing. You know?
that's it, exactly. Yeah, definitely. And I think that even through fighting, the money you get, like, it's not it's the moments, the memories aren't even worth half of it. Especially the people you meet, the memories you make, and just the overall legacy and what you've done with your life is worth more
No, and
than
being able to say that you did that, that you traveled the world, like a young fighter, for example, like yourself, you could literally say, "Yes, I went to Mexico to fight." It's a lot of people that don't leave their town, let alone go to another country to fight. So it's those memories and experiences that round you out that a lot of people don't get to say that. That's actually dope. 15 years old could say, "Yeah, I went to Mexico to fight, and I'm probably gonna go back. I'm gonna win." You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. I just think that, a big thing in the sport, unfortunately, is greed, and that's the main reason why these fights don't happen. But, eventually they come round, it's a bit too late.
Yeah, like we'll get it when the guys are old and they're getting like prostate exams and stuff like that. Because Amir Khan and Kell Brook, like, bro, that fight was a talk. That fight was talked about. Gotta be like at least 10 years or something.
Yeah,
Like, it's,
definitely. It's just, even I loved Floyd and Manny Pacquiao, but that could have probably happened a bit earlier.
yeah,
Like,
definitely.
don't get me wrong, still a brilliant fight. Really, really good fight, but even so, that probably could have happened earlier. Let's not act like it couldn't have.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's just a pursuit. Like, I understand when people say that it's a business, because that's how they
Yeah,
justify it. And I
definitely.
understand that you want to optimize earnings, but it's just that it's not the same when the guys in their mid 30s and then stuff didn't happen. Like, you got to strike while the iron
Yeah,
is hot, you
yeah.
know.
It's a different fight. In boxing, you could say, oh yeah, they only had to fight 5 fights later, but within them next 5 fights, you could have been knocked out. Could have broke something, could have got a big injury. Anything could have happened. So it's easy to say, but it
Or
changes the
slow
fight
down
completely.
because we all get older. That's the other thing that especially for a speedster, like not to make excuses for him because I always had Floyd winning that fight from the moment it became
Yeah,
a tipping point. But for a guy like Manny, when you have that style, you're gonna slow down, and when you slow down, it's gonna be different. So for them
yeah,
guys that, yeah, you got to do it while you have it. You got to do it, man. You can't wait forever.
yeah, definitely. I just think with that style, you've got to be smart about your career as well. You can't take too much damage, even in sparring or anything with that style, because it's gonna
Age
short
you,
your
it's
career like
gonna
a
age
long
you
a
prematurely.
bit long. Yeah, definitely.
Well, I'll say, Rihanna, it was a pleasure having you on. I hope to
Thank
welcome
you.
you back ahead of your next fight and after your next fight. Always welcome. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you very much.
Right now, ladies and germs, I will upload the next episode of the relay in a few hours because right now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go take a nap. I'm old and I take afternoon naps, and I'm about to take mine right now. I'll see y'all on the next one.